The courtroom doesn't feel like a place meant for justice today. It is as if this were some kind of confessional booth, where every whispered lie of the Brown family has come to be judged. The air is thick, thicker than the normal courtroom tension, the kind that makes even the wooden benches appear to bend forward, awaiting the truth. The doors haven't opened yet. Reporters whisper in clusters, adjusting microphones. The legal staff fidgets with papers exchanged between glances that say, "This case is bigger than we thought." Because when the Browns come to court, everyone knows something explosive is coming. The silence is broken by the first echo as the heavy double doors swing open. Cody Brown steps in. But he's not the confident, chest-puffed patriarch viewers used to see on TV. His shoulders are tight, his jaw tense. Even his eyes, usually full of stubborn fire, look dimmed, as if he didn't sleep, or like he's afraid of what's about to unfold. Behind him, Robin walks with tiny, uncertain steps. She grips a tissue in one hand, and her eyes are puffy, her breath shaking. Her other hand keeps reaching for Cody's arm, as if she believes he might crumble. But the moment the cameras flash, she tries to straighten. Tries to play the part the world still thinks she is. The favorite, the victim, the innocent one. But today, innocence is a luxury that no one in this courtroom can afford. Christine enters next, her chin held high, gaze sharp, back straight. She's done being silent. She's done being patient. There's a fire in her that wasn't there years ago. The fire of a woman who finally stopped apologizing for being hurt. A couple of steps behind her, Janelle follows. Quiet. Collected. But you can tell she's not here for drama. She's here for truth. Her silence feels heavier than shouting. Then, all the cameras flash simultaneously. Because Mary enters. Not shy, not apologetic, not the forgotten first wife that the audience used to pity. She walks like a woman who finally reclaimed her place in her own story. Her heels click on the floor. Slow, controlled, powerful. And in her hand, she carries a cream-colored envelope. Sealed. Thick. Heavy. Official. The envelope that makes Cody widen his eyes before promptly masking it with forced anger. Inside that envelope lies the truth. The truth that threatens everything he built and everything he manipulated. Retention booster, 300 words. Whatever is inside Mary's envelope has the power to collapse the entire Brown family narrative. And Cody knows it the moment he sees her walk in. "All rise," says the bailiff. The judge enters, stern, calm, commanding. She sits, adjusts her glasses, and looks over the crowded room with the expression of someone who already knows this day will not be easy. "This case," she begins, "is unusual. A rustle of quiet gasps. Not a divorce, not only a financial dispute, but a combination of allegations, inconsistencies, and testimony that spans years." Cody squirms in his seat. Robin's grasp on his sleeve tightens. The judge focuses on the table where the wives are seated. Today we will begin with the first submission, which is by Ms. Mary Brown. A visible shock runs through the courtroom. No one predicted it, not even the reporters, that Mary would go first. But she stands, steady, controlled, unafraid. She walks to the stand with the envelope held in both hands. It sounds like a hammer striking steel when she places it down. "Ms. Brown," says the judge, "what evidence do you wish to bring forward?" Mary lifts the envelope. Her voice is calm, but every word carries weight. "I have documents which directly contradict statements made by Mr. Brown and Mrs. Brown under oath." Every head turns toward Cody and Robin, Robin stiffens. Cody inhales sharply. Mary continues. These documents include certified DNA reports and testimony that contradict the narrative given to this family and to the public. Gasps, whispers. A couple of reporters are already typing furiously. The judge nods. You may open the envelope. Mary tears the seal. Slowly. Intentionally. Like she wants every second of this moment to sink deep into Cody's skin. He watches her hands with a look that isn't anger. It's fear. Real fear. Because he already knows what's inside. That's why he did not want Mary to speak first. She unfolds the papers. Before she can read them, the courtroom doors open again. Everyone turns. A man walks in, tall and solemn, in his lab coat under the blazer, unshakably composed. He approaches the front with determination. Cody mutters, No, he shouldn't be here. Who called him? Sir, says the judge, identify yourself. My name is Isaac Porter, the man says with confidence. I am the specialist in the lab who performed the DNA analysis included in Ms. Brown's envelope. Reporters erupt. Christine's jaw drops. Janelle lets out a sharp breath, as if she knew all along, but never wanted to believe it. Robin puts her hand over her mouth. She looks like she's going to pass out. And Cody sits frozen, jaw clenched, fists tight, because this is the one person he hoped would never appear in court. The judge motions for Isaac to take the stand. He puts a folder beside him and looks directly ahead. These results, he begins, were verified twice. There is no margin of error. Silence falls. According to the DNA testing, he goes on, one of the children, publicly presented as biologically connected, does not share the paternal link previously claimed. A wave of complete shock sweeps the courtroom. Robin's face crumples as if she's been hit in the chest. Christine whispers, I knew something wasn't right. Janelle closes her eyes, like she is reliving every moment that made her question Cody's truthfulness. Cody suddenly stands. That's enough, he shouts. This is private family business. This doesn't concern the court. The judge slams her gavel. Sit down. He does, but his face is pure panic. Mary looks at him not cruelly, but with the pain of someone who finally sees the truth she has ignored over the years. Isaac speaks calmly. The documents also contain evidence to indicate that the original information may have been deliberately changed. Everyone reacts simultaneously. The reporters start shouting questions. Robin lets out one of those fractured sobs. Christine gasps. Janelle whispers, Oh my God. But Mary doesn't move, because she knew all this already. Isaac picks up the last document and takes a half step forward. There's one more thing the court must know. The room goes dead silent. He looks at Cody, then at Robin, then back at the judge. The falsified information came not from the lab, nor from administrative error. It came from a person who had direct access to family records. A reporter drops his pen. The judge leans forward. Mr. Porter, who changed the original documents? Isaac takes a breath, steps forward, raises his hand, and points to the person responsible. Chaos explodes through the courtroom when Isaac points out who was responsible for falsifying the family's DNA records. Robin's gasp becomes a sharp sob. Christine stands up abruptly, sending her chair screeching against the floor. Janelle puts her hand over her mouth as her eyes widen in disbelief. And Cody doesn't move. Not even an inch. He sits frozen, staring straight ahead at the man accusing someone he never believed would be exposed in public. The judge bangs her gavel repeatedly, shouting over the rising voices. Order. Order in the court. But no one is listening, because Isaac just pointed his finger at Robin. The room erupts again. Reporters almost trip over each other. One lawyer drops a stack of papers. Someone in the crowd yells, "I knew it," before he is hushed by security. Robin collapses into her chair, shaking. No, I didn't. Her words are broken, barely audible. But it's too late. The truth is already out. Isaac continues. The person who made the changes to the original records is Mrs. Robin Brown. Robin cries harder. Cody finally snaps back to reality and clasps her hand. That's not true. This is ridiculous. She would never. But his voice shakes. He knows what it means. Mary closes her eyes, almost as if she's mourning the last piece of loyalty she ever believed Robin held. I begged you for years to tell the truth, Cody. And you let her lie to all of us. Cody stands again, his fist slamming on the table. You don't understand the situation. You don't know what we went through. But he's not shouting at Christine. He's yelling at himself. Finally, the judge gets control over the room. Enough, she orders. Mrs. Brown, you will approach the stand. Robin looks up, tear-streaked and trembling. She whispers. You can, the judge says firmly. And you will. Robin's legs wobble as she stands. Cody starts to rise as if to support her, but the bailiff steps between them, halting him from approaching the witness stand. She walks slowly toward the front of the room, wiping away tears from her cheeks. Even her footsteps sound guilty. When she sits, she looks at no one, not even Cody. The judge leans forward. Mrs. Brown, the court needs an explanation. Robin swallows hard. I didn't mean for anything to happen like this, she begins, in a thick, shaking voice. I was trying to protect my family. By falsifying legal records? The judge asked sharply. Robin squeezes her eyes shut. I was scared. Her voice is raw, desperate, and echoes through the courtroom. What were you afraid of? The judge presses. Robin's hands shake against the wooden surface. Losing them, she whispers. Losing everything. She looks up and for the first time catches a glance toward Cody. He meets her gaze, but not with comfort, with confusion, with betrayal. As the new wife, Robin continues, I felt like I was always one mistake away from being pushed out, from being judged, from being the outsider. Christine folds her arms tightly. You were never the outsider, she snaps. You were his priority. Robin shakes her head violently. No. That's what all of you thought, but you didn't see what happened behind closed doors. Silence blankets the courtroom. Everyone waits. What happened? The judge asks quietly. Robin hesitates, and then breaks. Cody told me that if certain things came to light, the whole family would collapse. Cody's head snaps up. Robin, he hisses. She cries even harder now. He told me if the truth got out, we'd lose the show, the money, the reputation, everything. The courtroom erupts again. Lawyers whisper urgently. Reporters choke, trying to write fast enough. Christine regards Cody as if she were staring at a stranger. The judge narrows her eyes. Mr. Brown, did you instruct your wife to change information pertaining to your family records? I never, Cody begins. But Robin interrupts him. He didn't say the words, but he made it clear, she cries. He implied it over and over. That keeping the family story intact was more important than anything else. Cody's face flushes red with anger. You're twisting my words. Am I? She says softly. Or are you just afraid I finally told the truth? The judge motions to Isaac again. Mr. Porter, to explain. Did Mrs. Brown do all of the falsification? Isaac hesitates. and the pause ripples like a tremor through the room. Mrs. Brown made the changes, he concludes finally. But she was not the only person who had access to the original files. Christine whispers, "No." Janelle shakes her head in utter disbelief. Mary closes her eyes again, bracing herself. The judge asks, "And who else had access?" Isaac looks over at the defendant's table. Cody Brown. The courtroom falls silent, not noisy, not chaotic, dead, silent. Even the cameras stop clicking. Cody is staring at Isaac in shock, his face red with furor. "That's a lie, a straight-up lie." Isaac replies calmly, "Mr. Brown, records show that your login credentials were used within the same 48-hour window as Mrs. Brown's." Cody's jaw clenches hard. The muscles in his face twitch. Christine steps closer toward the railing that separates the audience from the tables. "You did this," she says, her voice breaking. "You let us fight each other while you hid the truth." Cody reaches his breaking point. "You don't know what I had to do to protect this family." "Protect?" Mary's voice cuts through the room, cold and steady. "You weren't protecting us, Cody. You were protecting yourself." Cody turns to her. "Mary, don't start." "No," she says, rising to her feet. "I spent years thinking I was the problem, thinking I wasn't enough. But you were the one holding all the lies together." Cody takes a shaky breath, trying to regain control, but he's surrounded, outnumbered, cornered. "What was so dangerous about the truth?" asks the judge. Cody doesn't answer. He can't. But Robin does. "Because the truth would prove," she whispers, "that the family wasn't as united as he pretended, and that one of the children might not be his." The room erupts again. People are shouting, chairs scraping. A woman in the back exclaims in shock. Cody's face loses all its color. Christine's hands fly to her mouth. She clutches the railing so hard, her knuckles turn white. And Mary? Mary does not react at all. She just watches him, steady, silent, knowing. The judge slams her gavel down so hard it sounds like a gunshot. "I will clear this courtroom if order is not restored." Slowly, painfully, people settle. "Mrs. Brown," the judge asks Robin, "are you saying your husband knew the truth about who this baby's father was?" Robin shivers. "I'm saying," she looks at Cody, "he was afraid of what people would think if they knew the truth." The judge turns to Cody. "Mr. Brown, is this true?" Cody doesn't talk. He doesn't move. Heavy is his silence. Damning. And then the judge says the words that put the next storm into motion. "We will require the biological mother of the child in question to testify next." Christine gasps. Janelle hides her mouth. Robin shakes uncontrollably, and Cody grips the table so hard that his knuckles turn white. Because they all know the next witness, the next testimony, the next revelation will change everything. Session 3 starts off with a different feel in the courtroom. Heavy, silent pressure is like a weight that is almost physical. People who had been casually seated before now lean forward in their chairs. A shift has taken place. Something big is coming, and everyone in that room feels it. The judge readjusts his glasses and addresses his gaze at Cody's lawyer. "Counsel," he says slowly, "before we proceed, I need complete clarity from your client." His statements from last session contradict his own prior testimony. Immediately, murmurs ripple across the courtroom. Contradicting testimony is no small thing. Sometimes it's dangerous. In a split second, it can blow an entire defense strategy. Cody squirmed in his seat, looking irritated, as if the whole courtroom was inconveniencing him. His jaw clenched, his shoulders were stiff, and his eyes narrowed, like he was ready for a fight. His lawyer urgently whispers, "Cody, please." Answer very carefully this time. But Cody, being Cody, doesn't like being told what to do. He raises his chin defiantly and speaks loud enough for the whole room to hear. "I already told you what happened. I don't need to repeat myself just because they can't keep up." The air chills. Christine shoots a look at her attorney. He raises an eyebrow. This is precisely the type of arrogance that loses a case. Even the judge's face darkens for a split second. Judges don't like attitude. They don't like ego. They like order, clarity, and respect. And Cody offers none of that. The judge leans forward. "Mr. Brown, your statements about the financial withdrawals do not match what you said in your deposition." Christine's attorney rises immediately. "Your Honor, we have the exact transcript right here." He walks to the center of the courtroom and holds up a document. Confidently, he taps the page. According to Mr. Brown's deposition, he claimed that he did not transfer money amongst family accounts without notifying the wives. Yet, in last week's testimony, he said he did so when necessary. These statements directly contradict one another. All eyes turn to Cody. He looks around quickly, as if he had been caught off guard, like someone who suddenly realizes the walls are closing in. His attorney tries to speak, but he is cut off by the judge. "Mr. Brown, I want to hear it from you. Which version is true?" The silence is suffocating. One could hear a pin drop. Even the stenographer stops typing, hovering her fingers above the keys in anticipation. Cody licks his lips, his eyes darting. He's searching for a way out, searching for a story that makes him look good, searching for a version of reality where he's the hero. But this isn't his living room. This isn't the TLC confession booth. This is a courtroom. And here, the truth counts. Finally, he speaks. I handled the finances because someone had to," he mutters. "We agreed that I would manage the money." Christine's attorney does not waste any time. "That agreement ended in 2018, correct?" Cody freezes. Christine lifts her chin. She knows exactly what's coming. "And after 2018, did you continue withdrawing money without written authorization?" Cody tightly grips the table. I had access to the accounts, so..." The lawyer interrupts abruptly. "Access does not mean authorization. You know that, Mr. Brown." A wave of gasps breaks through the spectators. Cody's face reddens. From anger, panic, or embarrassment, nobody is quite sure. Maybe all three. His lawyer, exasperated, rubs his forehead. This was supposed to be a controlled testimony. Instead, Cody is sinking his own ship, one arrogant answer at a time. Christine is called back to the stand. She rises with quiet confidence. She does not look angry. She does not look scared. She looks ready. As she approaches the stand, a powerful shift occurs in the room. She wasn't being heard for years. She has been overshadowed for years. But today, the courtroom listens to her. Christine adjusts the microphone. When Cody continued to use the joint accounts, she says clearly, he wasn't only taking money. He was taking trust. He was taking stability from our kids. He made financial decisions without consulting any of us. And when we called him on it, he acted like we should be grateful. Cody reacts instantly. "That's not fair," he shouts. But the judge slams his gavel. "Mr. Brown, you will remain silent unless spoken to." Cody, furious, sinks back down. Christine continues, her voice steady. "For years I tried to keep peace. I tried to stay quiet. I tried to believe he would act responsibly. But when I found out how much money was unaccounted for, I realized silence was no longer protecting my family. It was protecting him. The courtroom is electric. People glance at each other. This is no longer just a custody and property case. This is about betrayal, control, a pattern that has gone on for decades. As Christine speaks, Cody mutters to himself, "That is not what happened." She's twisting everything. The judge gives him a warning glare, but Cody doesn't stop. He leans forward, voice rising, emotions cracking. "You're making me look like a monster, Christine. You're acting like I did everything wrong when you—" The gavel slams down once more, this time harder. "Mr. Brown, one more outburst and I will have you removed from this courtroom." The tension is unbearable. You can almost feel everyone thinking the same thing. He's losing control. He's losing the room. He's losing the case. Christine keeps calm. She does not even glance at him. That composure, the silent strength, would pain him more than anything else. Christine's attorney hands a folder to the judge. "Your Honor, inside this file are statements showing unexplained withdrawals, totaling over $30,000 over a 2-year period. All withdrawals were made by Mr. Brown without signatures from any of the wives." The judge flips through the pages slowly. Page 1, page 2, page 3. Every page makes Cody shrink lower and lower. His attorney tries to object, but the judge waves him off. "These are bank-verified documents," the judge says. "They will be admitted into evidence." Christine doesn't smile. She doesn't gloat. She simply releases a breath she's held for years, perhaps decades. Relief, validation, freedom, all wrapped in one quiet moment. For the first time today, Cody looks scared. Not angry, not arrogant. Scared. He finally understands something. This courtroom is not his home. He cannot talk his way out of this. He cannot charm, manipulate, or threaten his way to victory. In this room, the truth has weight, and that truth is crushing him. Christine leans into the microphone and utters the one sentence that will continue to ring within the room long after Session 3 has ended. For years, Cody told us we owed him loyalty, but loyalty without respect isn't loyalty, it's control. And this courtroom is the first place where I finally feel free to say that. The whole room is silent, not from shock, not from confusion, but from awe, because at that moment, Christine stops being the quiet wife. She ceases to be the background character. She becomes the woman who finally stood up, spoke truth, and shifted the entire direction of the case. Cody's head drops. "Mr. Brown," he says firmly, "before we proceed, I want to remind you that this is a court of law. Your behavior yesterday was unacceptable. If such behavior continues, I will hold you in contempt." Cody tries to contain himself, but the muscle tension in his jaw is noticeable. His fingers tap the table surface repeatedly, a nervous tick not seen before. He forces a smile. "Your Honor, I apologize. I was emotional. I felt attacked." The judge doesn't return the smile. "This is not about your emotions, Mr. Brown. This is about the truth." Christine looks sideways, but her expression stays impassive. Her lawyer, however, smirks ever so slightly. Because they know what's coming. Session 4 is where the truth gets teeth. Your Honor, today we will be presenting the financial timeline showing exactly how Mr. Brown's decisions affected the family. He turns toward Cody. "We are also going to look at the one pattern that's been consistent over the years." Cody looks confused. "Pattern? What pattern?" Christine's lawyer looks directly into his eyes. The pattern of control. The room is swept by a ripple of gasps. Even Mary shifts uncomfortably in her seat behind Christine. Janelle lowers her head. The courtroom knows. Everyone knows. This is not just about the money anymore. This is domination, about dependence, about power. And Christine's team is ready to expose it, piece by piece. A giant digital screen flickers on. On it, a financial timeline from 2016 to 2021. Christine's attorney clicks a remote. Red markers begin to appear on the timeline, each one representing a major financial decision Cody made without consent. House purchases, land transfers, account withdrawals, loans taken in the family's name. Each red marker hits like a punch. Cody fidgets in his seat again. Now he appears smaller. Christine watches, unblinking. This timeline isn't new to her. She lived it. But watching it laid out like this, it gives her a strength she didn't know she had. The lawyer clicks again. A new marker appears. A purple one. This one is larger, heavy, important. This, the lawyer says, is the moment everything changed. Everyone leans forward. The screen zooms in to show the year. 2019. Below it, unauthorized withdrawal. $12,000 transferred to private account. Cody immediately responds. That wasn't unauthorized. That was for. The lawyer cuts him off. Mr. Brown, please wait your turn. The documents will speak for you. The judge nods. Let him continue, Mr. Brown. Christine's lawyer walks closer to the screen. Your Honor, this account, he points to the highlighted purple marker, was opened without any of the wives' knowledge. Christine found it only after noticing discrepancies in their statements repeatedly. Cody shakes his head slowly. That's not what happened. But the lawyer lifts a printed page, a bank statement. This transaction shows Mr. Brown withdrawing from the shared fund and depositing it into an account under his sole name. And when asked about it, he first denied the account existed, then admitted it existed, then claimed it was for family business. He looks straight at Cody. 3 different explanations, Mr. Brown. Which one is the truth? Murmurs erupt in the courtroom once more. Cody's lawyer closes his eyes, mortified. Christine's attorney is resolute. The judge starts writing notes. And that's a bad sign for Cody. Mrs. Brown, the judge says, please return to the stand. Christine rises slowly. She doesn't look angry. She looks tired of carrying this truth for so long. She adjusts the microphone. Christine, her attorney says softly, describe for the court the way you found the private account. Christine nods. I didn't want to believe it at first. Her voice cracks for the first time. I thought perhaps there was some mistake, maybe some misunderstanding. But when I found the account number and the transfers, then I knew he wasn't managing money for the family. He was managing money for himself. Cody slams his palm on the table. That's not what happened. The judge points directly at him. Mr. Brown, one more interruption and you will be escorted out. Cody sinks back again, breathing hard. Christine continues. I confronted him, and instead of an explanation, he told me that I was overreacting. He said I shouldn't question him, because he was the head of the family. People in the courtroom murmur in discontent. Christine swallows. That was the moment I knew something was very wrong. Christine's lawyer picks up another document. This, he says, is the text message Mr. Brown sent to Christine one day after she found the account. Cody stiffens. No, you can't bring that in. His voice sounds desperate. A lawyer reads. Gasps explode in the courtroom. Even the stenographer looks up for a second. Christine shuts her eyes, fighting back tears. Because that text wasn't a message, it was a sentence. A truth she lived under for years. And now, it's in the open. A judge reads the paper slowly, carefully, deliberately. Then he looks at Cody with an expression not seen before. Not confusion, not irritation, not neutrality, but concern. Judges do not like to be controlled. Judges don't like secrecy. Manipulation upsets the judges. And this text message, this one sentence screams manipulation. "Mr. Brown," says the judge in a hushed tone, "this evidence is disturbing." Cody swallows hard. For the first time today, he looks like he's losing hope. Cody's lawyer stands. "Your Honor, I'd like to speak to the context." But the judge raises a hand. "Sit down, counsel. The context is clear." Cody's attorney sinks back into his seat, because he knows this session is no longer about defense. It's about damage control, and the damage is already done. Christine looks at the judge, and then at the courtroom, not at Cody. Her voice is soft, but strong. "For years, he was telling us that we didn't need to know anything. But today, I finally understand why. Because the more we knew, the more we would see the truth." The room falls silent. The weight of her words settles like dust in sunlight. Cody looks down at his hands. Christine looks ahead, and the judge closes the file. Session adjourned. We will continue tomorrow. The courtroom feels different the following morning. Fuller, louder, heavier. Even the air seems thicker, like the very walls know something big is about to happen. People shuffle in their chairs, reporters whisper mid-sentence, and cameras click a little faster than before. Something is about to break. You can feel it in the vibration of the room. Cody is the last to enter. He doesn't make eye contact with anyone, not even his lawyer. His shoulders are stiff, his face pale, and his steps slow. There's no vestige of the cocky patriarch who boasted about ruling a household of 4 wives. This is a man bracing for impact. Christine already sits at her table, calm, focused, her eyes forward, hair tied tightly back, her hands clasped. Her lawyer looks energized, almost excited, which is a very bad sign for Cody. Robin enters quietly behind Cody, but for the first time in this whole drama, she doesn't sit beside him. She chooses a seat behind him instead, her hands clasped in a prayer-like fashion, her eyes full of fear. Even she can't predict what's about to unfold. The judge enters. Court is now in session. The gavel strikes, and session 5 starts. The wave of whisperings passes through the courtroom. Cody's head snaps up. "What witness?" he whispers to his attorney. His lawyer, whispering back, says, "I don't know." They didn't list anyone new. Cody's eyes widen. That's the worst-case scenario. A surprise witness, approved directly by the judge overnight, usually because the new testimony is too important to ignore. The judge adjusts his glasses. "Proceed." Christine's attorney nods and walks toward the center slowly. "Our witness," he says, "is someone who lived inside the Brown household, someone who witnessed the financial manipulations firsthand, someone who saw how decisions were made behind closed doors." Cody's breath catches. "Please don't tell me." He doesn't finish. Because the double doors at the back of the courtroom open, and in walks Janelle. The courtroom erupts into gasps. Cody's face collapses. Robin puts her hands over her mouth. Even Christine looks stunned. She hadn't known Janelle was coming. No one did. She sits. A bailiff swears her in. And then she looks directly at Cody. Not with anger, not with hate, but with disappointment deep enough to cut bone. Janelle inhales slowly. "Because," she says, her voice trembling, "it's time. It's time the truth came out. All of it." The courtroom falls silent. Even the lights seem to hold their breath. Janelle nods. Yes, many. Cody explodes. No, you didn't. You're lying. You don't know what you're talking about. The bailiff slams his gavel down. Mr. Brown, that is enough. Cody sits back down, shaking, face red with fury. Unfazed, Janelle doesn't flinch. She continues. For years, he told us things were handled, that he was managing our money, that he understood it better than we did. But the truth was, he didn't want us to see what he was doing. Christine wipes a tear off her cheek, silently. Janelle shifts in her seat. Cody controlled every account, every withdrawal, every investment. If any one of us asked a question, he'd guilt us. Or he'd lecture us. Or he'd say we were attacking the family. But the worst thing he hid wasn't the money. The lawyer pauses. What was the worst thing? Janelle looks down, then up at the whole courtroom. His fear. His fear that if we saw the numbers, we'd see the truth, that he'd been favoring one household above all the others. She turns her head slightly and stares directly at Robin. A collective gasp fills the air. Janelle nods, her face crumpling emotionally. Yes, but it wasn't just favoritism. It was obsession. Robin breaks down crying. Cody grits the edge of the table with force that turns his knuckles white. Her voice cracks. Because I saw Christine carrying a burden she didn't deserve. Because I was tired of watching our family fall apart while he blamed everyone but himself. Because I realized staying silent made me part of the problem. The entire courtroom remains frozen. Then, the lawyer walks over slowly to his table and picks up a folder. Your Honor, with the court's permission, we'll proceed to introduce the sworn statements submitted by Mrs. Brown last night, including screenshots of bank transfers between accounts. Cody shoots up again. No, those were private. You stole those. The judge glares at him. Sit down. Christine stares at the table, her jaw tight. Every new revealed detail is like a wound reopening. Cody looks like he's drowning. Your Honor, says the lawyer, I present Exhibit 42, a recorded voicemail left by Mr. Brown on Janelle's phone. He plays it. Cody's voice fills the room. The courtroom falls into a shocked silence. Even the judge closes his eyes for a moment, troubled. Cody covers his face with both hands. Christine looks at Janelle with gratitude and heartbreak. Robin looks at the floor. Then Janelle speaks again. Christine wasn't the only one who suffered. We all did. But Christine, she suffered the most. She was blamed for everything. She was shut out the most. And when she asked questions, he punished her. Christine's eyes began to tear up. Cody lifts his head, broken. That's not true. I loved you all. Janelle shakes her head. You loved being in control. The judge leans forward. Mrs. Brown, in your opinion, did Mr. From? When that speech happened, the courtroom falls into a shocked silence. Excuse me, Brown manipulate family finances? Janelle does not hesitate to answer. Yes. The judge makes a note. A thick, icy silence ensues. And then it happens. Christine's lawyer clears his throat. Your Honor, we have one more document from Mrs. Janelle Brown. He holds up a sealed envelope. Cody stares at it as if it's a ticking bomb. Janelle's voice falters. It's something I found after I left Flagstaff. Something I wish I had found sooner. The judge beckons. Proceed. Christine's lawyer opens the envelope. Pulls out a single sheet. The courtroom leans forward. It's a handwritten note, he says. From Mr. Brown to Robin. Robin jerks her head up. The color drains from Cody's face. The lawyer reads. The room erupts with gasps. Robin bursts into uncontrollable sobs. Christine covers her mouth. Janelle's eyes shut in heartbreak. The judge looks like he just swallowed a stone. Cody jumps up to his feet. That note wasn't, it's out of context, you can't. The judge thunders. Order, order. The bailiff steps closer to Cody, just in case. When finally, the room falls silent, the judge turns to Christine's lawyer. Finish for today. Christine's lawyer nods. Your Honor, this note proves intent. Intent to deceive, intent to hide, and intent to keep the wives in the dark. With this, we rest for today. The judge exhales slowly. Session adjourned. Gavel slams. Christine exhales, her shoulders shaking. Janelle leans backward in her chair, tears finally falling. Robin collapses onto silent sobs. Cody stands frozen, destroyed. And all of it culminates in the next session, the one everybody now is afraid of. And when he does, everything will come out. The lies, the secrets, the truth he never wanted spoken aloud.